Great piece, great piece, great piece. All right. We're going to talk about terrain, and we're also going to talk about uh, methods of fighting styles that can be applied to each terrain. Um, Particularly those who are in situations where soft targets are everywhere, and you know you have dangerous targets who are emerging and they're converging on you. Um, these are some of the fighting styles that you can use depending on which terrain you're in. Um, so if you're using Kendo, you're using Tai Chi, you're using Muay Thai. These are, body languages that would suggest that depending on your size, your middleweight, welterweight, heavyweight, lightweight, uh, below weight. If you are in these instances, okay, you only use these when you're in communities that are, uh, well, let's just use this. You are in communities that are middle class because there's a lot of suburbanites, middle-aged whites, middle-aged blacks, middle-aged Asians. You only use this fighting technique for those particular places. When you're in, uh, let's say, the hood. You know what I mean? When you're in the hood, right? You want to use sumo wrestling. You want to use sumo wrestling because you're around people, uh, not necessarily low income, but people who fit a certain ethnicity. A group, right? You're in that, so there's a lot of dangerous targets. You have soft targets here and there as well, but when you're in this situation, you don't want to use kickboxing. You want to use sumo wrestling. So taekwondo, I would think that it may work. Judo, it may work. But oftentimes, depending on your athletic ability, you want to be a sumo wrestler. Okay, this is where they use the heavy duty trucks to haul things. Because there's like a leverage where there's not a high demand for work, so there's constantly blue belting, not necessarily white belting. So that's something that you want to use. Say you're in upper class. You want to use Nirvana as a form of you know reconciliation because you're only dealing with peace when you're in upper middle class. Upper class when you're in that racket of finances. You only want to use Nirvana. Um, because a certain class comes with that. When dealing with people. You don't want to use anything like that would be considered. Considered um, coating. You don't want to use anything that would be considered coating or any of that. So karate is something you don't use in those scenarios. You only use karate when you're in middle class. That's the only time that you use it, and preferably in a setting where there's refereeing and such as like schools and principals, maybe a security guard who may be in the area of the particular establishment that you're in. Maybe you at a retail store or something like that. Then you want to use karate. Other than that, you don't want to use it. So look at that. Um, and so, like, again, when you're trying to figure out, what would be the best scenario in your fighting approach in your style, you don't want to do anything that would be considered a dangerous act in a degree that you're trying to fend off a target. So you want to make sure the scenario is assessed before you go into these techniques of defense. You don't want to do anything that would put yourself in jeopardy or someone else. So that's that. Great piece. Nirvana. Yakoki.